Well, good morning, everyone. And once again, welcome to another live. Hope you're having a wonderful start to your day. We're going to talk about the brain today. Okay, and we've been doing a little bit of that. And just want to say hello to a few folks here. Good morning, Brahim. You're first one up. From Oregon, Sandra, good morning. Rosalinda, Niagara Falls. Rosa, good morning to you. Nativity. My dear faithful friends, Carrie, you're becoming a faithful friend in Nebraska. Kevin from Oshawa. And Nick from our staff. Holly, Kansas. You guys are wonderful. Jocelyn, Sturgeon, Falls, Nancy, Kapuskasing, North Pole, Kapuskasing, Kim in Florida, Wendy, Markham, Mike from Norland, Kay from Alabama, Linda, Quebec, St. Jude, Brenda, Madeleine, how are you, Madeleine? Nellie, good morning. Jeanette, I love you guys. You're so faithful to these shows. Milika, how are you? Lisa Marie, Dorita, Manitoba, Etta, and Kathy, good morning. How are you? Bonnie, and Bruno, and Julie, Bowmanville, Ontario, Micheline, Chantal from our nation's capital, Brenda, Thunder Bay, Tennessee, Luella, and Maria. So many, so wonderful, Fran, Cease, and Nina, good morning. Our buddy Dr. Troy from Newfoundland, good morning to you. Bonnie, Little Britain, Jeanette from Gatineau, Denise, Diane, LaSalle, Wisconsin, Holly, and another from Manitoba, Marianne, and Deb from Timmins, Yolande. Bonjour. Catherine. Okay, a couple more. Let's get going. Francine, the North Pole. Nikita, yeah. I love that. Catherine, how are you? And Helen, and Jack. I guess Jack's watching with you. Good morning to you. Esther. Okay, here we go. Now, I want to bring out a new study this morning. It's on Alzheimer's. And we talked to you yesterday, and I think Monday too, we were talking about insulin. If you do nothing else, fix insulin resistance, because insulin, as we've been trying to prove to you, and when I wrote my book, The Reset, insulin has many tentacles, like an octopus, and from heart to brain. By the way, always been, even in medicine, they've agreed that heart and brain go together in a lot of ways. Heart disease and brain, like because of strokes, right? So they've often connected that. But if you look at the tentacles of insulin, they go from your brain to your toes. When I say that, you see, because for a lot of people, and I explain this again, is they think only of blood sugar, not of insulin resistance. So as long as their blood sugar is within normal limits, they don't attribute different problems to insulin. It's only when one becomes a diabetic that they start to expand their horizon. For example, when someone is a diabetic, officially, medicine would agree with everything I'm just going to say right now. When someone is a diabetic, they are much more susceptible to blindness. Every doctor in the universe would agree with that. When one has been diagnosed with diabetes, they are big time more susceptible to kidney disease. This is why dialysis is like part of the fabric of medicine today, because so many people are diabetic and their kidneys don't work properly. And every physician would agree that diabetes makes you much more susceptible to, when I say right from your brain to your toes, I mean it, gangrene. See, people that get gangrene and lose their limbs, it's terrible. Or they have diabetic neuropathy. That is extremely common. Brain to the toes. And again, there's no argument about that. What needs to happen, you guys understand this, but what needs to happen in medicine, they need a paradigm shift from blood sugar to insulin resistance, because the problem with blood sugar is once it goes south, repeat, your body does everything it can to keep your blood sugar within normal limits. Unbelievable. Like I use that expression, you can eat 20 donuts and a half an hour later, unless you're a severe diabetic, your blood sugar is going to come back within normal range. But you have no idea what that you just did to your body by eating 20 donuts or drinking a soda or having a slice of bread even that turns to sugar rapidly. It creates a cascade of problems, and people don't think of it because your blood sugar comes back to within normal range. The problem with spiking your blood sugar frequently, people that insist on living on carbohydrates and sugars, the problem with that is you're creating insulin resistance. And well before the official diagnosis of diabetes comes, you get major physiological changes in the body. This is why study after study has said that 88% of the population, 88% of the population in North America have some form of metabolic syndrome, meaning they are unwell metabolically, and it has to do with food. It has to do with insulin, not blood sugar. Again, blood sugar is the last thing that will change. So if someone is already a diabetic, quote, they're in deep doo-doo. Diabetes ends poorly. And the reason it ends poorly is because medicine, God love them, still wants to manage diabetes. Diabetes is not a blood sugar problem. Diabetes starts with an insulin resistance problem. Diabetes is this. It's an allergy to carbs. And really, can I say this? When they come out with a statistic, reinforced, like this 88%, I didn't just take it out of the air. Study after study is showing, and I say it's worse than 88%. But let's be conservative and say 88% have some form of metabolic syndrome. That is an allergy, guys. Because the only thing that causes metabolic syndrome is crappy carbs. Bread, pasta, rice, cereals, sugar, sweet. Dr. Martin, what is cereals? Yes, cereals. You want a serial killer? I actually wrote a book about it. Serial killer. 2 hormones that want you dead. Do you remember that book? Insulin and cortisol. Anyway, but it's an allergy to carbs. Your body can't, So when you have liver problems, fatty liver, that's creating a cascade of bad triglycerides and low HDL and inflammation. You see, what happens in your brain to your toes? Circulation. Can I throw another one out there? Gout. It's not purines. It's not. Gout is a form of metabolic disorder. That's why it's so common today. Look, guys, I'm a simple person. If something was rare at one time, like gout's been around since biblical times. The king, because they used to call it the king's disease or the rich man's disease. Okay? And they always blamed it on meat. Medicine, you read a textbook, Google. Go to Dr. Google and Google uric acid. You're going to see the word purines. Meat, gravy, those are purine producing foods. I disagree. Gout is a form of metabolic syndrome. Everybody makes uric acid. Everybody makes uric acid. It's a byproduct of fructose. The problem is, when you have insulin resistance, your kidneys can no longer flush out that uric acid. Remember what uric acid is. Uric acid is normal. Everybody makes uric acid. You make it, I make it. What if you don't get rid of all of it? It can land up in your joints. Crystals. And it wasn't that the king was eating too much meat. The king was drinking too much wine and beer. And gout, like in the last 20 years, incredible. Guys, when I was still in practice, I would see like people come in and they're crippled up. And I would say, man, you got gout. Nah, no, it's not that. I said, yeah, that's what it is. You got gouty arthritis. You got inflammation from uric acid. But uric acid is not Houdini. It just doesn't pop up. Everybody makes uric acid. Why can't you clear it? Kidneys. What happens to the kidneys? There's nothing that will affect the kidneys like insulin resistance. Ask a diabetic. And we talked about the inflammation factor. From your brain, guys, to your toes. We talked yesterday about Alzheimer's. Why did they originally, and you still hear it once in a while, why is it they still call it, some type 3 diabetes? It's food. It's not genetics. Oh, my dad had Alzheimer's. Okay. But that's, my dad had diabetes. That doesn't make me a diabetic. It gives me maybe a weakness, but it doesn't make me a diabetic. Because diabetes is not genetics. It's food. And some people, okay, and you've got to understand this. Some people are more susceptible to higher blood sugars. But if you understand what I'm saying about metabolic syndrome, is that you can get different strokes for different folks. I think that was a song. So someone's form of diabetes, even though they won't call it that, because again, diabetes is only based on, the actual diabetes diagnosis is based on blood sugar, where it shouldn't be. It should be based on insulin resistance. And they only want to manage diabetes because to some extent, medicine has been hijacked, guys, by the labs. Testing. Am I against testing? Of course I'm not against testing. But the old-fashioned physician, they had instincts. A lady was telling me the other day that she went to her doctor. The doctor never even looked at her. He was on the computer. Okay. Listening. And I don't know, was he on Google? I don't know. Was he checking his stock portfolio? I don't know. We'll order some tests. Okay. I'm not against testing. It's a tool in the toolbox. But docs got to use their instincts, their training, understand, get in. I always used to tell patients, when you go to your doctor, bring a pen and a notepad. Have all your questions ready. And don't leave till they answer your questions. My daughter's a nurse. And when she works in a walk-in clinic, she says, a lot of doctors, they only give you one question. Ooh. I answered the one question, you don't get two. Oh, come on, guys. That ain't medicine. But what I'm trying to explain here, okay, I don't want to get off topic too much, is from your head to your toes, insulin resistance has many, many tentacles. I talked yesterday about men and ED. ED is what? It's insulin resistance. That's what it is. It's the cause. It's not a lack of the blue pill. Most non-injury arthritises, most non-injury ones, is insulin resistance, sarcopenia, wasting, muscle wasting. insulin resistance. That's why you can be skinny as a rake and be very unwell. That's why I talk about it. Gout, insulin resistance, heart, triglycerides, low cholesterol, insulin resistance. It happens in the liver first. What's in the liver is not Las Vegas. It'll go up to your brain too. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. What happens in your liver don't stay there. Got it? It doesn't stay there because your liver is going to affect your heart and your brain. And I explained to you yesterday the relationship of how your brain will take the food that you eat. Your brain will take the food that you eat. It's the federal government. It will tax first 25%. Doesn't matter what you eat. You eat nothing but crap, and your brain goes, okay, I get 25% of that. You eat sugar, and your brain goes, okay, if that's you insist on eating that, I'm taking it. 25% off the top. I'm headquarters. I get to choose what I take, and I take 25%. You choose what you eat, and I take the first 25%. That's how your brain operates. Why do you think your brain, don't you think that food is very important for the brain? And this is why I tell people, and I've been saying this for so long, it makes your head spin. Where in the world did we get so stupid on fat? Brought to you by Kellogg's. Yeah. Brought to you by the cereal companies. Oh, don't eat bacon and eggs. Bacon, yes, it's going to clog up your... See, they always thought, not always, but medicine thinks they're in the plumbing business. What do I mean by that? Because all they can think of is clogged arteries. That's what the problem is. And when they see fat, okay, they see a steak. Okay? And even today, dietitians are like that. They're trained like that. They see a steak and they go, oh, well, you better, if you do eat it, we don't recommend it, but if you do eat it, please make sure it's lean. Every dietitian that I know, God love them, every physician I know should be sent up to the North Pole. No, not Sudbury or Timmins. Past that. Not Kapuskasey. Go past. Go up to where the Inuit live. Used to be called Eskimos. And watch them eat. The only reason that the Inuit get sick, okay, seriously, is because when we introduce McDonald's to them, okay, fast foods. You want to destroy people? Give them fast foods. I mean, books were written. It was part of my nutrition course. They ate nothing but fat, and they were the healthiest people. No Inuit, okay? And you know, I don't mean to be, you know, joking, but I got to joke a little bit. Like, no Inuit ran after a seal and had a heart attack. Did you know that? They die when the polar bears eat them. They died of old age. What? They live in the North Pole. Yeah, I know, but they were very healthy. Books have been written. Studies have been done. Unreal. Unreal. And any native population, okay? And I say this to my First Nations. I've done a lot of work with First Nations, lots of work. They kind of like me because I tease them. I do. I tease them. I say, well, I'm a white man. Okay, see this face? White. And they agree. Okay. We're trying to kill you. What? Yeah. We took your land and we're trying to kill you with our food. And I always tell the First Nations, Madeleine, tell everybody online that this is true. I always tell my First Nations, don't eat white man's food. Go back and live the way you used to in terms of food. What you can hunt, eat. Why? Well, you don't do well with carb. By the way, nobody does. Nobody does. But whether Inuit, First Nations, Indians, okay, like East Indians, Egyptians, Middle East, do you know that they can hardly have any carbs? They get 50, 60% already of diabetes in their country. Do you know that Egypt, 50%? They have a genetic weakness. I have a genetic weakness. So what do I got to do? Me and carbs don't get along. My name is Tony, and I'm a carbaholic, and I don't get away with it. I just don't. And like I said, neither do you. You don't get away with it. Oh, Dr. Man, I'm not a diabetic. Yeah, effectively you are. Do you got metabolic syndrome? Are you 88%? Do you have high triglycerides? Do you have low HDL? Well, you're a diabetic. Nah, yeah. Well, you don't have high blood sugar, but you have insulin resistance. Your liver's all messed up. Your memory. Yeah, but my dad had Alzheimer's and he wasn't a diabetic, but he had insulin resistance. Dementia is not a problem of genetics. Weakness, maybe, but not the cause. We all have weaknesses, right? We all do. But what you can control is what you put in your mouth every day. As simple as that. And I'm not, and this is why I'm so big on fat. I love protein, you know that. Protein's king. But there's not a better combination in the world when you put protein and fat together. Eggs, protein, and fat. True? Yeah, it's in nature. Somebody said, well, I can't eat too many eggs. Why? It's perfect food. Look at a piece of meat. Now, there's qualities, grass-fed, okay? Grass-fed beef, listen to what I'm going to say, has more DHA than fish. Is fish good? Well, it's right at the top of the food chain. You like fish? Good for you, because I love fish too, in a capsule. I wish I liked fish more, but I have it every day. If you saw the studies on DHA, the king of the castle when it comes to fat, the best fat in the world is DHA. Number 2, EPA. Number 3, CLA. That's dairy fat. You want to go on the hit parade for fats? Those are the top 3. Numero uno, DHA. Number 2, EPA. Read your labels, guys. Read your labels. DHA, you want a healthy brain? Look at, guys, I need a memory. Okay? And I know that if I don't watch my carbs, I'm going to destroy my gray matter up there. Lord willing, I want to continue doing this program, and I have to have a memory. And as I get older, I'm much more conscious of my memory. And that's why I feed it fat. Your brain is fat, mostly. You better eat it. You better eat it. Guys, that's what you need to eat. Perfect foods. They're perfect. Nothing else matches an egg, a piece of meat. You ladies like chicken. Well, steak's better, okay? Steak. Okay. Red. Okay. Numero uno. Bacon. Chicken. With the fat on it. Don't get lean chicken. Eat the fat on the chicken. Pretend you're Inuit. They don't eat chicken, but, okay? Don't avoid fat. It's meant to be eaten. Okay. I get excited, don't I? I'm sorry. Nah, that's me. Okay? My poor patients. I know many of you saw me over the years, like my girls out in the wait, my staff used to tell me, the waiting room can hear you. I'm sorry, I got a built-in microphone here. And I get excited. When I get excited, my voice goes up. I can't help myself. I remember a lady, I came into the office one day, okay, never met her before, new patient, whatever, come in, she said, Doc, I remember, she said, you're in my space. What? It's my office. She said, you're in my space and you're too loud. I said, you're in the wrong place. It's who I am. And I wouldn't pipe down. I said, you better get used to me. You waited almost 6 months to see me. Don't blow it. That poor little lady, I intimidated her. I said, well, I don't have a volume control on this thing, okay? It's always on high. I don't know, is it because we had 11 children in our family? you know, my siblings, we had to scream over top of one another to be, if you think I'm loud, you should hear my sisters. Wow. Anyway, okay, guys. From your brain to your toes, look at the underlying cause. Look at the underlying cause. It's one of the reasons, and this is early in January here when we're talking about this, it's one reason I want you as a resolution to make a resolution to do the reset. Never too late. Don't think it's too late. It's not. Start. Okay? Start. Okay. Now, tomorrow, afternoon session, we did a vote. I asked on Monday, what time do you want it, in the evening or in the afternoon? We got back and it was 10-1 in terms of voting, 4 p.m. Okay, so we're going to do 4 p.m. tomorrow. Okay, Friday morning, question and answer. You got questions? Don't be shy. Happy to answer your questions. Okay, I'm not shy. Don't be shy. Don't be shy with me. Okay. If it's a question that, you know, is unique to you, ask it. I might not spend a lot of time on it, but I will answer your questions, okay? And our staff is fabulous for collecting them, okay? Nick and Jeanette and Brandy, okay? Ask your questions. You're not a member of the Martin private Facebook group? Why not? Do you listen to our podcast? Why not? Do you get our emails? We do a lot of teaching on the emails. You don't? Why not? Sign up. martinclinic.com. Okay. Love you guys. We'll talk to you soon.